all right. Happy Wednesday, happy Wednesday, happy Wednesday. Welcome to the M.O.B Brainstorming Session, where we come together every single Wednesday and just share different knowledge, share different resources, and make sure that we educating, the community for the most part. So, I just want to, first of all, thank the Most High, at the end of the day for, um, making sure that we just have another day, to be able to come together and share thoughts, share resources, and be able to be in a predicament where, we lead in the culture for the most part. And then I want to thank you guys for, just hopping on every single Wednesday. I know you guys, every single person on this, Zoom, been doing some amazing things. So I know it's hard to get away and set aside time. So I know how important that is. So I want to thank you guys for setting the time, setting aside enough time to come together, brainstorm, share share resources, share perspectives every single Wednesday. And for the most part, putting these ideas and putting everything that we've been building on together, I think that's the most important thing. Like we've really been building in just this last year. Like we are already at the end of the fourth quarter, and it's so crazy because I was looking at I was looking back at some of the footage that we got from the first quarter, and we was talking and just looking at how we were just talking about the first quarter. And for those of you that remember where we was at, um, you know. When we first started doing our brainstorming sessions, all the way and just looking to all the way how we really just kind of advanced and kept on changing up the scene and to look at where we at now and how much we've grown individually at the end of the day, and how much we've grown together. I think that's the most important part at the end of the day. um, it's all about unity. So I thank you. I thank you guys for continuing on, just coming together for the most part and making sure that we actually have a platform, um, in an actual safe space and a safe haven, to actually get some stuff done. So everybody know what time it is. Is this month we're really touching on the entrepreneurial mindset and leadership. At the end of the day, so I want to make sure that we just touch on those bases. And we love to kick off these brainstorming sessions with our icebreaker question. Just to get the brain going, and get you guys involved, and make sure that we just bring it all into one. So again, make sure you guys throw the ones in the chat if you're feeling good today, man. It's happy Wednesday. Throw the ones in the chat, throw the ones in the chat. And while you guys at it, make sure you guys, you already know how it go. Make sure you guys throw your websites, throw your social medias, throw your contact info in the chat. Make sure you guys follow somebody else's social media. Make sure you guys check out somebody else's website. That's what it's all about. Making sure that we connect the dots and making sure that we connect with each other. Because there's a lot of bosses in this room. There's a lot of people that's doing a lot of amazing things. Speaking of amazing things, we have amazing special guests for the evening. I actually want to go right into the interview right after the icebreaker questions, if you may. But we got Lady Felidia in the building, and I really can't wait to really be able to dive in some of these questions, especially when it comes to the entrepreneurial climate, and when it comes to some of the great things that she's been doing in the community, because that's what it's all about, really coming to serve it, to the community and making sure that we're doing something great. Real quick, go ahead and blow up the chat with your answer. Because I'm not gonna call on everybody tonight because I want to go get right into my interview. But go ahead and throw your answer in the chat. The icebreaker question for tonight is: what's one failure in your career that turned out to be the best teacher It ended up leading to something great. Throw that info in the chat. And I'm gonna start off with I know we just had Darwin on. I wanna actually start off with you, Mr. Fix It. What's one failure in your career that turned out to be your best teacher and ended up leading to something great?
What is you said? What is one failure?
Yeah. Or what you
Mm.
perceive as a failure.
So one thing that's a failure that end up actually helping me in my business.
Hmm.
Um, one failure, man, that actually helped me. I will say,
Let's go. Let's go. Make sure you guys answer in the chat too. Blow up the chat. Blow up the chat.
okay, cool. I'll say this. So one failure, what had happened was I could say, under delivering for like clients, like I could say like, okay, so I'll say this. So with my client or one of my client, go ahead. Go ahead. Here you go. Here, take this one. So my client, I'm gonna say the failure. What had happened was is that the client, I was telling them, okay, well, this is what you're gonna need to do, this and that, and then what had happened was they started to, I guess lose faith in the process and everything. And basically, what had happened was is that with that particular client, it helped me gravitate to say, you know what, let me, and that's what I was telling you about the last webinar when it was breaking it down as far as having an actual module or having an actual outline of what I'm going to talk with the client. That's what changed my business forever, because when I first started and everything, I was pretty much just winging it, doing this and everything, and it was a big failure to me because it was just like I'm getting clients, but I'm losing them along the way. And I was just like, man, it's got to be something. And it clicked to me, and I was just like, you know what? Most people already having a conversation. I don't have to sound a certain way or whatever, because we simply just talking about life. When you talking about money, credit, finding, that's basically life, because you making money, if you got a job or if you got a career or whatever it is, that's a conversation. It doesn't have to be, anything direct or whatever. You could just simply just, talk off the dome or off the heart, or what you feel, all of those things. So I will say that, that was kind of like, so the failure of mine, and then it turned out to be, the best thing I could ever did, because now I got a complete structure of what it is that I do. So
Most definitely, most definitely. I appreciate you, King, for sure. Let me get a mod member. Let me get Fee. What's going on, Fee? And I actually love your answer, by the way, for sure, Fee.
Hola, hola, tribe.
Come on,
Hey, everybody.
let me get some
I
more
am
answers in the chat real quick.
B. What'd you say, Delano?
I was saying, let me get some more answers in the chat real quick. Go ahead, Queen.
Yeah, so I was actually 5 months pregnant with Autumn Sky. I was working for corporate, and they were promising job security at one point or another. As far as like when it comes down to like the chains of command in corporate. So as a regional director, they fired my counterpart and then gave me like a measly $5,000 raise for two people's jobs, which only counted to like $7 we had an emergency Tuesday meeting out of nowhere, which we never have. That pregnant, they were like, yeah, unfortunately, we're gonna have to close down the company, and this is 7 years of the company that I've invested in. I went that route, And to me at that time, it was like a slap in the face. And it did hurt. It was like, I've worked for this company, I've busted my ass, and there's no such thing as job security. Clearly, it's no such thing. So after that, I took it personal, and I have not been back to corporate since. Have not been back. I've been working for myself for the last 6 years now. 4 of those years, with the company that I was with, and then the others now pretty much with me, me and the family and the tribe. So we still tracking, we still going.
We still going, we still going, we still going. I love it.
Yes. And I saw Stephanie had something like that too that she had put. She had a similar situation too. So shout out to us for like being entrepreneurs and being like, screw y'all.
Nah, most definitely. Most definitely. Most
Yeah.
definitely.
So
So I don't want to hold you guys up. I want to get right into, um, especially for our amazing guests. Like this is definitely a treat. So I definitely want to kind of really just jump right into that. Um, um, Lady Felidia, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
What's going on, my family? What is up?
And I
I'm
just,
like, so
I just feel like we just so
you
blessed.
just saw me. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I feel like we just so blessed. We just so blessed to really just have another day to be able to do these amazing things. So I've really just been rallying up the squad. Speaking of that, make sure you guys check out some of the latest content that we've been putting out on Mob TV. We've really been really just been hitting this road heavy and touching on so many different great stories. We definitely got to get you on there, Lady Felidia, next. Maybe when we come back to Atlanta, or we can set that up, or we can really just sit down. So what we gonna do is we're gonna go. We're gonna have you do the icebreaker questioning, and then
Hmm.
I want you to go into um an intro for the people that don't know, who Lady Felidia is. And then I got a couple more questions that I want to ask you. I want to jump right into the interview and really dive into that. And then hopefully we have enough time for the Q&A, and then we're gonna wrap it up. But the icebreaker question for the night is, what's one failure in your career that really led to be and turn out to something great for you later on?
Ooh, ew. I would say just one failure. Just one. Just one failure. I would honestly say, man, there hasn't really been just one. That's honest. But maybe like the most recent,
Mm-hmm.
the most recent one was probably me um leaving teaching, like being laid off from teaching. I was teaching medical assisting and medicine on nursing at a college up in Norcross. And this was during the beginning, not even the height of the beginning of the pandemic. And we had been teaching in the classrooms, and then when the pandemic started, I'm gonna log on from another device. Let's get going here. All right, my good people. So when the pandemic started, we were all teaching like in the building. And then all of a sudden, the new parameters that were put out by the CDC and Fauci was like, now we have to shelter in place. Everyone needs to be at home. So they sent all of my students home, and they were logging into class from home, but we were still required to come into the building and teach. And we were like livid about it. You know, I felt like we were being put on the chopping block. And um, I, of course, you know, because of who I am, I voiced my opinion about it. And um, and that, you know, didn't go over too well. You know, they basically told me like I didn't want to come into work, and they basically told me like, well, you have to. That's what you have to do. So the next day that I was supposed to teach, I didn't come in. I went home and I gave all of my students. Zoom was not even a teaching platform then, you guys. But I gave all of my students a Zoom link, and I told them to log in to Zoom. And I said, if nobody shows up to teach your class, log into this Zoom link, and I'm going to teach. I'll teach the class. And so no one did, and so they all logged into my link, and I ended up. I didn't even really know how to work Zoom like that, but I ended up recording a session, and then the corporate, they saw the session because it goes into their like a SharePoint database. So they saw the session that I taught and how engaged it was, and then we started teaching that way. Like they sent us home, and then a couple short months after that, I was pressing again, and then they decided that they were going to let go a bunch of people, and I was one of the people that they let go. And all of the teachers I was also a program director at this time. So that means that I was in charge of the entire department, which was at that time was probably about 250 students and about 8 educators during the day and about 4 at nighttime. And I managed all of them. Not only did I manage them, but I also had to, make sure that our grades, that the grades were good, that attendance was good, retention was good. I had to ensure that the program was growing. This was a really big deal, and they let me go. And I love this job. I love teaching. I love educating. So it seemed like at the time, it seemed like one of the worst things that could have happened. Like Fee said, it was a corporate job. I had 401k, a nice 401k. I was making decent money, and then all of a sudden that was gone.
Yes, the pandemic really set us all down. And that was the beautiful part about it. But it was ugly at that time, because we were so used to being outside and doing what we love to do. But even us, with our magazine publication, we was on tour, and we even everything shut down. So it was no more tour, it was no more this and that. We had to shut down our event space, our gallery. It was a lot of different challenges. But what came about the dirt was a whole new community. For the most part, because even with us, we got into doing our Zoom and our virtual seminars at the time, and we was really able to build. And now fast forward, look at us now. Now it's like second nature. For the most part, we've been on Zoom, all this year, every single Wednesday, at the same time, and being able to build, the same way, and sometimes better when we're in person, which I still love that in person energy and love being around you guys. But I think it's a better way for us to multitask when we're on Zoom, and it's really put us in a position to be able to do more things. So the pandemic was rocky for sure. But so I really want to go into the intro real quick. Who is Lady Felidia? Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, I can hear you.
There
And
we go.
she
There
is
we go.
the person who's back. All right, I'm back in, you guys. I'm on the laptop now. So
There
be
we go. There we go.
stationary. Who is Lady Felidia? Man,
Yes,
that's
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
such a big, that's such a big question. Um, I have a lot of roles. There's a lot of things that I do. But at my core, man, at my core, I'm really just, I'm really just a soul out here enjoying, my experience here on earth and in growth, you know, um, in life, enjoying seeing myself through each and every person that I come across. Um, I am a lifelong student, man. I'm a lifelong student. I learn every single day. I'm excited about learning. I love meeting people that I can learn from and that I can learn with. And and that I can teach too, because because I just like that. Thank
Definitely,
you, sis.
definitely.
And likewise, it takes one to know one. So yeah, man, so much. I am because I'm a lifelong student and I love to learn, I also really love to teach. Um, I love to just to share any and everything that I come across. And that's really what I do. I love to connect people. Um, I think that that's really important in life for us to come together and to connect. And so, I love to do that. To be more on the technical side, I am an educator. I am a philanthropist. Someone gave me that role recently, that title. I was like, I'm not old enough to be a philanthropist, right? I thought like I felt like that, But then when I looked up the definition, and then I also felt like I didn't have enough money to be a philanthropist too, because I think like in my mind, I don't know if anybody else ever felt like that. In my mind, a philanthropist got like their pockets are deep and heavy, and mine's are heavy and deep, but they still filling up. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about any of y'all, these pockets, they still filling up, and that's exciting.
So,
That's exciting
so,
too.
so
Um,
speaking of that, I want to touch on one of our modules, which is financial literacy and budgeting. Speaking of pockets, um,
yes.
how do you approach budgeting for your different projects and for your organization? And what strategies do you use to ensure financial stability?
So at first, I didn't have any strategy. Let's just start, there. Like I'm always be raw with it. I didn't have any strategy. I was just really acting off of passion, off of the fact that I know like I want to do a thing. I think that's where a lot of us start out. It's like we want to do a thing. I know, this to be, and so you start it, and that's so necessary. That energy is so necessary. But once you really get into it, and that passion, that fire that you start with, a lot of times if you don't have um processes in place, that's going to burn out, and then you're not going to be able to keep moving and keep producing at the same rate as you did when you started with all of this big energy. So I think like being able to take time, really pull away from everything that I'm doing and creating, and to look at what needs to happen now, what needs to happen first, what needs to happen next, in order to be able to continue doing the things that I'm doing. So like I'm a mother. For you all that don't know, I'm a mother of, really, I have 7 children, right? But I gave birth to 2, so you all are not looking at me like, what? Um, and so all of the everything that comes, and the financial responsibility that comes with that, on top of being an entrepreneur, on top of still working for a corporate company, still, like, more recently I started that back as well. And so you really have to have processes in place where you really look at what you have financially. What are your responsibilities? What is it that you really have to do? What do you have to pay out? And then to realistically look at, well, what am I bringing in? And sometimes that shit is a hard pill to swallow.
Most
Excuse me if
definitely.
there's any kids, on the line, because sometimes you look at it and it doesn't make sense. It's not balanced.
Yeah.
So, then you really have to take the time to look at your other things in life. Like, where are you leaking money? Where could you put better processes in, so that way you're not wasting as much time, and you can put more focus over here into, maybe these other processes, building out the framework of a thing, instead of just pushing forward head first. Um, like you do
Most
when you're
definitely.
starting out something. Yeah. So
So real quick,
put in different processes, and then not to cut you off, but then putting people in place to handle processes that I may not want to do or need to do either. You know,
most definitely.
my job is up here, and even though I love my hands in the dirt, you know, I genuinely love my hands in the dirt. What I need to be doing a lot of other times is being in meetings, connecting people, explaining to people why what we're doing is important. You know, growing our organization and growing, you know, our
Most
community,
definitely.
not
Most
clients,
definitely.
but community. Yeah.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I agree. So real quick, I wanted to touch on marketing and branding. I know you've really been, doing a lot of different projects and doing a lot in the community. What's one unconventional marketing strategy that has worked best for you and your brand, and how did you come up with it?
So you and these questions, unconventional markets.
Yeah.
I'm so like, okay. So, like I just said, right? One of those things you got to find people to be in places that you don't want to be, right? I do not want to do marketing and branding. I can and I do and I will because I have to. Like, I will, you know, look at Feet. She's like, no, like, I will make the flyers. I will, you know, I can do all of that, but you know, I really, my expertise is really in a different lane. So, I would say, one marketing strategy is knowing where my weakness is, knowing what
Yes.
I genuinely want to do and be responsible for. Like, you know, in the beginning, you have to be everything for your business. You have to be marketing, you have to be branding, you have to be advertising. You know what I mean? You have to be, you know, you have to be the treasurer, you have to do all of the paperwork, you everything. You have to be the front person, you have to be the face, you have to be all of those things. As you start to grow and you learn more about how you work and what's beneficial for you, you then, you know, and then y'all, let me tell y'all, we're gonna talk about this technical stuff, but here's really the lane I'm on. When you align your energy, when you align your heart, when you align your mind with the very vision, the very thing that you genuinely want to create, and you're not doing it for yourself, you're doing it for us, you're doing it for people, right? The moment you do that, there is a shift that happens. There it's like all of your ancestors line up and they like, let's go, let's go. So all of those people start lining up for you, right?
Yes.
All of the things that you need. And I'm a person that like, I don't, it's not easy for me to say, I need this, right? Delano, you know me. It's not easy for me to be like,
Me
oh,
too.
I need, you know,
Yeah.
I can give all day. It's that's the sweet spot for me. But to call you and say, I need you to, you know, show up like this or like that, you know, it's a little bit difficult at times, especially when it's on a personal nature.
Yeah.
When you align that energy and they will come, you already know it, Fee, right? When you align that energy and you know, then put it into play and you create a belief, a change in your belief system. Like, I know that this is what I need, and I appreciate the fact that it's already on the way. Then those things start to line up. So that's what happened. So then a person came that was better at marketing and branding than I was, right? So then that person, hey, you got it. You got it. I do like a little control. You know what I'm saying? Who we kidding a lot, but you know, I will give up the things that I don't want to deal with and to deal with in order for us to be successful. So that's my
Yeah.
answer, is knowing where
Mo-
my weakness is when it comes to that.
I've talked about this a lot. I've had many conversations in the same lane, and that's one of the reasons why we started. Really diving into the social media marketing aspect and taking over different people's social medias because a lot of people feel the same way you do. Probably everybody on this call. Matter of fact, throw some ones in the chat if you do not like managing your own
Throw it
social
up, throw
medias,
it up. All my
or do
ones, all
not
my
like,
ones.
or if it's just anything in your business that you do not like doing, particularly, put that in the chat as well. Put that in the chat.
Yes,
Because that's what we here for. That's what
right.
once I started to see it, I'm like, okay, we need to basically, build value because it's all about, like you said, really adding value to the next person. And, usually I like to call it the big three. Most people have trouble with capital. Most people have trouble with, connecting the dots as far as the education process and all the elements that come into their passion. Because, like you said, most people lead with their passion and then they don't really understand all of the elements. And they don't think about the marketing and branding that they got to do and different strategies that they got to get into to get to get that out there. And then most people on third, with that big three, most people have trouble putting together the team. So we like to
That
fill
part.
those three. We like to fill those three holes, for the most part, because it's pivotal to understanding your weaknesses and also understanding your strength as well, so you can really be confident in your role in the company. If you don't need
Right.
to be a CFO and you just need to be the CEO, you be the best CEO possible.
Right.
Or if you just need to step back and be a COO or a C, or if you need to put somebody in position, like somebody, a consultant or somebody like that, or a specialist in general, you need to be confident in that person that they're going to do their job and get enough information to make sure that we hold them accountable. And that's what we do. We make sure that we put anybody that's a member on here, you guys already know, we make sure we put together our checklist. We make sure we put together our outlines for anything that we're trying to do, so we can make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable. Like, oh, we were supposed to do that. Oh, we need to do this. We need to do X, Y, and Z, and understand all of the elements that comes with completing the project, whatever the project may be. Um, so real quick,
And I But wait, I
yes,
want
ma'am.
to just to because you just stole all my thunder. So thank you. You just stole all my because that's what I was just about to say was that like, um, in community, like I was so blessed to come into the mob because that's like the other thing. Like I know, like this is what you all are amazing at. So I tell anybody about it. Like any I've seen each and every one of us that have been affiliated with the mob from the time that I met you guys at Canvas Couture. I've seen, everything that I'm doing grow. Fee, from the time that I met you, I've seen, your everything blossom, CC, where you I don't know if CC on the call tonight, but that's another mob member, one of our beautiful partners in farming, and I've seen that grow, so it is invaluable what you all do. It is invaluable what you do. So
Yeah, I appreciate it.
thank
We
you.
all need a village,
Shout
though.
out to our mom.
We all need a village. But I appreciate you guys for just being able to, because like Darwin said earlier, when it comes to business and finances and everything like that, it's your life. So when people put their lives in our hands, is different than us just selling a product. It's different than you just selling, whatever it is. It's different. It's a community effort, and the bigger goal, we know the bigger goal, is to really get our community in shape. And it's all about economics at the end of the day and growing together. And if your business not together, now we ain't together. Now we can't create more jobs. Now we can't, if and I'll sat back, especially when we all of the event spaces that I've managed. Sometimes you have to sit back and watch people fall on their face, and I hated that feeling. I hated when a promoter came and rented our space, and I'm like, yeah, do you, okay, we got the space now. Do you have this and X, Y, and Z? And they say, oh yeah, yeah, I got that, and they don't really think about that, but they don't have it, and then the night of their event, it goes wrong, and from me, because I do logistics. I'm looking at it go wrong from the time they open up their doors,
Mhm.
and but because I'm not on the inside and it feel like we feel like we're separate entities, we don't, it's like I gotta just sit back. And I hated that feeling. So, I feel like now what we're doing, we're able to do something about the problem, instead of complaining or just being or having to sit back like, oh man, people ain't on their business. Well, let's help people, let's help people get the
Yep.
information. and let's help it. Oh, people, oh, he ain't got this. Oh man, his content garbage. Well, hook him up with somebody that can get him together then. Oh,
Sure.
his business is garbage. His sales, his customer service is garbage. Well, let's link him, with somebody, a mentor or something, that can help him, with his sales and customer service. Well, speaking on that, let's touch on that. What is the most memorable customer interaction you've had, and how did it impact your approach to your sales and customer service?
So, oh my goodness, that so my background in customer service or in service really goes back pretty much as long as I've been working. Who the heck knows who's the most memorable? I don't know.
I know
What
you
I
got
will
some
tell
stories
you,
now.
now I got some. That's what I'm saying. Just here's what I will tell you is a couple more things that I do, right? Because I always start out real meek and real. But I am definitely an entrepreneur. That was one of the biggest blessings that came out of the thing that I thought was a tragedy when I got laid off. Was I
Definitely.
started my own education company called Hawk Innovations Training, and I started teaching CPR classes at first. Now I teach everything that I learned. Right now, I teach aquaponics down in Atlanta at a school um, for children that are facing different levels of homelessness. Um, I will be starting at a school off of Cleveland Avenue in January, creating a farming and engineering program at that school. And when I say I mean, me, but my community. I am the founder of Agricultures United and the founder of Hawk Innovations Training and the COO of Noble Shungite Farms. Uh, so we specialize in Noble Shungai Farm specializes in creating urban farms, any size farm, honestly, teaching about different levels of agriculture and holding classes for the community to be able to come out and learn anything that they would like to learn to elevate. We have what do you call those? Internships. We have internships for people to come out to learn how to how to farm. We partner with I got you, LaShawn. I got you. I got you Saturday actually. So and I'll touch you on Saturday also. But
Make sure you
anything
post that
regarding
info in the
farming, how
chat.
to make money. Huh?
Make sure you post that info in the chat too, Sage.
Yes,
In
yes,
the
I
chat.
am. I'm not. I'm before I get off here. I'm gonna post all the info in the chat.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I do that. I'm also a speaker, a soul speaker. I'm not a motivational speaker because that's bullshit. I'm not motivating you to do anything. It'll be gone by tomorrow. So, like whatever. If I speak to your soul though, I feel like I'm in there. You can't forget me now. And you really
Definitely.
can't forget you, and that's really why we're doing this. And so, the other thing that I do is I am an end of life doula. And what that means is that I help hold space um, for us when it's time for us to transition, back to whence we came. And and that's one of the things that I just love that one, as well. So in all of those things, I deal with a lot of people, and I work for Delta also. And I like, set up reservations. So if you call Delta to set up a flight, you might get me. It's not, I'm not gonna say Lady Felidia, my name gonna be Whitney. So if you ever get a chick named Whitney,
You're hilarious.
that's what it is. And so I'm gonna tell you a story from Delta because they're just hilarious, right? So this is about customer service. So um I the people, all the time. And so in my training, I deal with the highest level of Delta's clients, their customers. So these are called the diamond medallions, right? And so diamond medallions, they got They got that red diamonds medallion. Spend a lot of money in order for you to be a diamond medallion inductor. You got to spend at least $28,000 in flights a year, right, to
Mm,
make that status. And you get a lot of perks with that status, but with that comes a lot of hostility, ego stuff, you know what I'm saying, sometimes from people. And so
right.
you get these calls, So one day I'm, working, I get a call from a lady and she is pissed. Like she's a diamond medallion. She was but she wasn't sitting in first class, as a diamond. She was sitting in regular old coach, which that's your whatever, but she's sitting in regular old coach. And so she called in to complain about the gentleman that was in the middle seat next to her who was fat. That's just what she said. I'm just gonna tell you what she said. These are not my words, okay? She said he was fat, and not only was he fat, but he was breathing heavy, like but she did the voice on the phone. And then she proceeded to tell me that he grabbed her leg like 3 times during this
Oh
fight.
my
So I'm
God.
like, and now I'm not even gonna listen. I don't know if her name was Becky, but maybe it was. I don't know. But all I'm saying is she was really exaggerating. So she said, so I asked her and I said, well, I said, didn't you say he was sleeping, ma'am? Well, maybe he was asleep. I don't know. Maybe he was faking it. So she goes through this rhetoric and she's blowing all of this situation up, and she's just going through, and I'm just sitting here like, just get to the point. You just want some money, ma'am. Just say what you want. That's all. And she wouldn't do it. She just wanted to keep going on and on about how terrible this guy was and how disappointed she was that she had to deal with the fatness of him in this seat, and Delta should have made him buy an extra seat and all of this nonsense.
Mm,
So
mm,
then she finally gets to it, y'all. It's like 20 minutes. My soul is like, 20 minutes. She's like, I said, well, what would you like, ma'am? And she said, well, I want to know what Delta is going to give me. What Delta is going to do for me. If there's anybody on here that also works for Delta, this call should be in confidence. And I feel like we signed NDAs before y'all got here. So whatever. But I said to this lady, man, I said, this is what Delta is going to give you today. Delta is going to give you the best gift that you can get. And it's called advice. This advice is And this advice is for you to learn how to be a better human being. Seriously. And she said, what? Excuse me? I said, no, ma'am, seriously. Like, I'm sure you were inconvenienced. I'm sure that this may have been uncomfortable for you. But I mean, did you ever take 1 second to think about how uncomfortable it may have been for the person next to him? Do you may take 1 second to think about the people that they spent their last money to get on that flight? Do you ever think about the fact that how many people didn't make it home after they got off that plane?
mm.
Do you ever think about the fact of how grateful you should be, just the fact that you could pick up a phone to call me to complain for 20 minutes about how fat somebody was and that they slept on the plane next to you? Now that didn't go over too well. I just want y'all to know she wasn't like had this whole epiphany and was like, what, you're right. But she was quiet enough when I was speaking to her, and I did notice this. She was quiet and she did not interrupt me, and she had been doing that the whole time. And so I gave her customer service that day, not the kind she may have thought she was going to receive. And I did not give her any money for that, but I did speak to her soul, and I did let her know, like, be a better human being out here in these streets, please.
Yo, for real.
And
I love it.
that's
I love it. So, okay, speaking of advice, what
yeah.
advice do you have for an upcoming business owner, an upcoming entrepreneur, or anybody, an upcoming organizer, activist, anybody that's doing something for the community, that's in the leader in a leadership role?
I would say, don't ask for permission. That's my advice.
Mm,
Don't ask for permission to be who you are, who you want to be, how you see yourself. The work that you know in your soul needs to be done. You know what I mean? You know it, you see it. Like if you walk by trash on the street, you know that shit is trash. You know what I'm saying? You know the street would look better if you picked it up. Don't keep walking by it. Don't keep waiting for everybody to get together and be like, oh, look at all this trash. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for somebody else to tell you that you're doing a good job to do a good job. Don't wait for that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just do it because that's what you know needs to be done. Because if it didn't need to be done and if you weren't the person that should be doing it, you wouldn't be there. Why would you be there? Yeah.
I hope y'all hear my snaps. But I really love it. I appreciate you, Queen, so much for just being a dope individual and, giving us some time. Man, you knocked out my internet connection. That don't even be happening often. We like
No, it
this is
doesn't.
brand
No.
this is
No, it
brand new
doesn't.
internet. We just got this internet over here. So but it's powerful because we keep it going and I love, you and everybody on here, for just rocking with us and just sharing your energy. I really want to open it up for a Q&A real quick.
Please.
So if you have any questions or concerns, let's go at it. Matter of fact, blow up the chat
If you
if
want
you
to
have
know
a
anything,
question.
yeah, just
Yeah, if you have a
anything.
question, I definitely want to, before we go, really give you guys an opportunity, to really just engage. That's what this is all about. So, don't be shy, man. Somebody else might want to, ask the same question that you end up asking. And this is a safe space, at the end of the day, this is what this is all about, coming together and making sure that we just share knowledge. So, and share experiences, at the end of the day. So, throw them ones in the chat if you actually have a question for Sage.
Throw them ones up. Making rain barrels. Yes. Yes. See, we got a
Go
whole
ahead,
class
Fee.
on that.
Go ahead, Fee.
And
Huh?
there's so many things, y'all. Like when I tell you guys, um with growing and farming, I don't know who said anything, but growing, and farming, like, I've learned so much about ways that we can grow food, and how important it really is for us to grow our food. Like we come into this space, right, of M.O.B. this every week, and we talk about mastering our business. We really are masterminding in here, every week, and we're always better, because of it. But in order to um be able to operate at our highest level, you have to put good things into your machine, right? Your mind is a machine. It's like it is the best supercomputer that the universe knows outside of the universe, right? The whole concept for computers comes from our brain. It doesn't come, it's nobody like was like, oh, maybe it came from our brain, the way that our synapses work, right? The way that our system connects to the actual environment, right? That shit comes from us. Um, and it is absolutely, you know what I'm saying, the most, important thing. And I really kind of lost my train of thought on there. It was good, it was getting good,
You were
but I
silly.
lost it for
You were silly.
for
Talk real quick. That's
for
good
a
because real
second.
quick, I got Fee and Darwin that got questions. So
Oh, you got
let me get
questions? Oh
Fee.
yeah, because I was
Yeah,
just
let me
holding
get
space
Fee
for
real
questions.
quick.
Come with it.
Go
Come
ahead.
with it.
Go ahead, Fee. Unmute yourself real quick.
And
Okay,
I
okay.
remember now. I remember what I was talking about.
I'm unmuted now. So yeah, I actually posted my question, which she answered. It was about rain barrels. I want to learn about doing rain barrels because I want to start doing better. I mean, I collect rainwater, but I'm like, there's like a drop spout that has an overpour off of one of the sides on the other side. So I just collect it straight up from like right off the roof. Like, let's get it. Like. But I actually want to do rain barreling so that it can be filtered. And, you also get a tax credit right off here in Georgia. If you didn't know, it's like $3,000, I think, roughly, or something like that.
What?
Yeah,
Okay.
for and you can use it for like watering your plants. It's like a form of conservation that they recognize. So I would really like to do that.
I would love that. And Fee, you could also set up the rain barrels in a fashion so that way you could have that water for outdoor showers for your whole experience that you have with the philosophy and the glamping. If you all didn't know about my girl with
Yep.
with the glamping. So, and then rainwater is best for, for our skin, for us to use this environment. But rainwater is best when our environment is not full of pollution and bull sugar honey iced tea.
That part. That
Right,
part.
like all this stuff that just happened out here with the Conyers Biolab fire.
Yeah,
These
I
couple
wouldn't
rains ain't
collect
good
no
for you.
rain out there.
Don't collect no rain out here in Conyers. Like seriously, don't collect any rain out here in Conyers, like at all. Yeah,
Most
but
definitely,
you got
most
Mr.
definitely.
Fix It. I see that baby over there.
Mr. Fix It, what's going on?
Yo,
Like you
yo,
say, what's
yo.
going
What's the
on,
word?
Joe? What
Not
you say?
much.
What's that
So hey to
Chicago
everybody.
slang? What's that Chicago slang? What's going on, Joe?
You got it, you got it, you got it. Yeah, so I got a question. What for beginners, like as far as just anything that they want to try to plan, because like my favorite, I guess I want to say, as far as like vegetable would be like I love pickles. I love, like, you know what I'm saying, and I know they come from cucumbers. So it's just like if someone that was just to want to start, somewhere, how do you know what I'm saying, go about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, where do you start?
So the best place to start is where you are, of course.
Okay.
And some small things that you can think about to consider is just like the fundamentals of what it might take to grow food, right? Or what it does take to grow food. Like you need water, you know. You do not necessarily need soil, but you can have soil if you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where it would be convenient for you to grow. You need lighting, right? So if where you live does not have a good source of sunlight, if you live in an apartment building and the sun is always just kind of hitting at the wrong angle, and the outside space may not get good sunlight, you can grow inside and utilize light. So just thinking about your space and what you have, just the simple things that it takes to grow. From there, you think about what you like, just like how you said, I like cucumbers, I love peppers, right? Peppers are super easy to grow. Cucumbers are super easy to grow. Herbs, that's usually like the easiest place to start. Princess is here. That is the easiest place to start. Herbs are so easy to grow. In your house,
Hey,
on your
mute your mic real quick, Darwin.
anywhere. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Darwin. Thank you, baby girl. Also, she's super excited
He
on the
is so
call.
he is so
Um,
adorable.
she is. And you can grow, herbs like, right in your kitchen. If you guys see, I don't know how to turn this thing on. I'm gonna do it like this. I have some holy basil right there. Obviously, I'm still learning how to work Zoom, but I have some holy basil, and then right now, what I'm doing with this, it doesn't like it looks. It's like, oh, it doesn't look so good. But right now, what I'm doing is preparing for the next season with this. We're gonna get all of this as seeds. So a lot of times when you see your plants like spinach and plants that have leaves to them, and you're like, where the hell does the seed come from? If you just let it grow out enough, it flowers, and then the seeds are in the flowers. So I would say herbs are easy. And then the easiest thing to do, Darwin, is just get you some grow bags or get you some pots if you're not, if you don't have space outside to grow things, and then start small. Just start small. Something as small as a basil or some rosemary. Rosemary is so resilient. It'll grow through darn near anything. It'll grow through the winter. Um, yeah, start there, and you'll be able to
Great,
grow.
thank
And
you.
then
Because I
also,
was
go ahead. Yes, please.
Yeah, I was gonna push in because I'm in Chicago, so it's cold. So it looked like I might have to, like, start in the inside and have some lights and stuff like that. I could do it that way, right? Because I got like an
Yes.
extra room where I could do that at, and you
Yeah.
know.
And then
Mhm.
look into like grow tents. Look into grow tents because those are super productive as well.
Okay,
And you can just put everything inside of the grow tent, seal it up, and it's a greenhouse inside of your house.
cool, dope. All right, tell her thank
Yeah.
you.
Anywhere. It don't matter where you are. You can grow anywhere. Chi-Town, upstate New York. So we grew, when I was growing up, my grandfather is actually from South Georgia, and he brought farming up to New York with him, and his father was actually a sharecropper, and his father's father, um, was, unfortunately, captured and sold into slavery, but they were not African; they were Native American. And they farmed land, and when they moved to New York, they brought farming with them. So we grew food in Queens, New York, where I grew up. Um, right in our backyard. You know what I mean? We shared food with our neighbors. Like I loved everything about that. I think that's where I learned a lot of sense of community. I really, was able to immerse myself in many different cultures, different types of foods. Like I had a Puerto Rican family that lived like two doors down from me. My best friend, her name was Lovely, and I go over there and get peas and rice and, just a fresh everything, all the time. That was the first place I had avocados. I didn't even know what an avocado was, so
And that's why we, and that's
just
why I always say all hands on deck. It's not just a color thing. We gotta have all hands on deck so we can experience different things for sure.
yeah, yeah. Culture is not color, it's
Hmm.
definitely not. And one of I know we're gonna be, getting off soon, but one of the things that we are really building out here, in Atlanta. The mob, all of us are a part of it. I don't know where you are, but it's really starting here, but it's going worldwide.
We're
Is
going worldwide for real.
It's going worldwide, no, for sure. Is really building out a community of self-sufficiency. And
Yes.
that's really at every level. That's from, being self-sufficient in your business dealings, and the way that you really just hold yourself. Like really, I'm like learning so much about, we just had a class last week about sovereignty, about
Mm.
contract law. Like I don't know nothing about. Look at Mr. Fixer. I knew you was on that shit. I knew you was on that.
Oh.
So
And I've
I
been
knew he
telling
was
bro we
on
need to,
that.
yeah.
So
I've
my,
been
what
telling
I'm
bro
saying,
we
like
need to
that
have,
was,
that's a whole
and I,
class
my
in itself.
my sister, she on here tonight, Indigo Sky, if she's still in the building, who was one of the people who put that, who put that class on, and just, is really teaching us so much about that, like really creating your own nation within a nation. It
Yeah.
is it is what they done to us. It's literally what they done to us, and I didn't realize that. So I'm so thankful for all of the people, that are coming into my life that are helping with that process. But really building out this self sufficiency, and with that, with growing our own food, it is paramount. With educating our own children, that is
Yeah.
paramount. The things that
Yeah.
they are choosing to educate our children into
Hmm.
and indoctrinate them into, is
Yes.
psychotic. There's no other word for it. It's psychotic.